Well, we're currently rehearsing twice a week, aren't we, on Sister Act rehearsals, which is going to be on at the Waterside in March, which we're very excited about. But we wondered while you were here if we could ask you some things so that we can get some tips for when we start our production. So here are some of our cast. So have you got any questions for Lucy? Shall we start off with either of you got a question about that?
Yeah, it's like, you know, when like you come home from rehearsal and like you want to like keep going and kind of like see if you can work on certain things. How just stop yourself from like pushing yourself too hard, like trying to fix things and like overthinking it.
Like being too much of a perfectionist.
Yes.
Yeah, so I get that, especially with singing as well.
Yeah.
It's trying to understand like what you know you're good at. So I think one of the things that I really struggled with was trying to make sure I was amazing at everything. But when I sort of realised that, no, I'm not a natural dancer. And as much as I want to get like better at picking up the choreo and things like that, I'm not naturally gifted with it, and it's not where my love lies. So like realising, okay, yeah, I am good at this thing instead, or I bring this, then you can know that and then trust that what you have in that is like enough. Yeah. And knowing that when you feel like you've done it, you've sang the song like 10 times in a row and you're getting angry with yourself and you just need to, like, I always say, walk away, have like a cup of tea, like 15 minutes. I used to do this thing for revising. Did you have the Pomodoro? It's a 25-minute timer. It was a proven study. So it's going to get cut. It's a proven study where you can work for 25 minutes and it's like your proven productivity. So if you do 25 minutes of something and then you have a 5-10 minute break. And it means that your brain is working at full capacity. It's like if you if you do vocal workouts or something, if you do like a song, if you sing for 25 minutes, at the end of singing for 25 minutes, if you're practicing, obviously for the stages that's different, but then you're going to be working at your peak for 25 minutes, like at your max, and then you just need to give it a rest. So I always try and do like a 25-minute timer, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to try and do what I can in that, and then by the end of that, I'm going to make myself take a break. But it is really hard.
I've heard of like people doing that, and like my singing teacher said to like us, like the GCSE students who are at my drama group, to make sure that you have a break and stuff. So yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, it's tough. It is tough, and also doing a cool down as well if you're singing.
Yeah.
I think really, like recently, I've realised how much vocal health is like really important, and I always am like, yeah, I get it, but actually practicing what you know is really important. Like doing a proper warm up. Like, and I can always like help like with that, like advising some stuff, but also like cooling down the voice as well, and like doing like actually massaging her because it's a muscle and it's so tiny. It's so tiny. So if you're like singing straight on it, these really difficult songs that you have to sing, then you're gonna be very tired, you know, very quickly.
You're gonna pull a muscle.
Yeah, and you don't want to pull that. You don't want to pull that.
No, that's brilliant. That's really good advice, actually.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You don't often think about that. You think about it in dance, don't you? But you don't often think about it.
Of course you do. Yeah, I always forget that it's a muscle. I'm like, why am I tired? I'm like, oh, I haven't drank water, and I haven't actually like warmed it up.
Absolutely. Yeah, that
makes sense.
It does totally. Elise, did you want to ask something?
Yeah. So, for example, if you had a bad day, but you still have to go to rehearsal and you're genuinely just not feeling it, how do you cope with that?
Yeah, so this was always a really big stigma of like, don't bring it in the room. And I really don't agree with that. I think whatever you're going through in your life, you need to notice those feelings. It's healthy. And you need to, if you know like one person in the room, if you can, I've done it before, I've said to the director like, this is going on right now, don't need any help, but I just want to let you know, I've got this going on. Or like, I'm just having a tough day. I missed the train and I'm running a bit late and it's made me really flustered. But I'm here and I want to do the work. Then even just saying that releases, like, I can literally feel my shoulders drop. Like, it releases so much. And you're just giving yourself permission to be like, okay, that's fine. Because it's just anxiety. That's okay. You can notice your anxiety. It's not a bad thing. Like the new Inside Out movie. Anxiety is like your friend. If you go, that's okay, I've got you. Like, we understand that that's going on, but we're here now. And try and use it in a healthy way. I don't agree with like pulling up like emotion recall and like, oh, your trauma. Do not do that, in my opinion. But just, you know, if there's a scene where you're having a conversation with someone and you feel yourself getting a bit worked up, notice that and like try and use it, and then afterwards be like, okay, by the way, that brought up something for me, and like have the conversation. It's just about allowing yourself to be in that moment. That's all it is, like responding and listening to the other person. And you might end up finding something that, because you were late to rehearsal or something, you might end up finding that you've brought a bit of urgency into the scene that it needed, and you didn't know. You're like, oh, we found a great piece there, and you're like, it's because I ran in. Like, literally, like, I've been there so many times.
Yeah.
Or I'm, like, really hungry, and I'm, like, a bit low energy and, like, really trying to trudge through, and they're like, oh, you had this bit where, like, I felt like you were really trying to get through it, and I was like, yeah, it was. I'm exhausted. Yeah. But also, it's about still bringing enough and not being selfish. It's about bringing enough to that scene, like, with the people that you're in the room with, and trying not to be the black hole, which is basically this drama thing, that this study that's like there's certain people that can be in a room or a class. The black hole basically just sucks the energy, like, out of the room. So you don't want to be that, but it's just good to share it, get it out there.
Absolutely. That's so interesting about how you can use it in a healthy way and in a good way to enhance performance. Brings us on to what you were going to ask, doesn't it, Will? So what would you not say?
What would you say makes a successful performance?
Oh, a successful performance. Having fun. Because there's so many times where I've, like, gone on stage and I've been so nervous and I've been so, like, okay, this is what I need to do and this is how I say this line. And those performances, I've come off and I've been like, oh, that felt, like, really rigid, and I wasn't listening to the other people on the stage at all. If you trust that you know, like, what you're doing, because you do, it's in there somewhere, it's muscle memory. And if you just put your focus instead on the other person, you can see that, because it makes magic. Like, if I said, like, right now, I'm not talking to try and make myself feel something. I'm talking to try and make you understand. And try, like, if you put that on, like, say if you're saying a line, like, oh, I want to go to the shop, but you put the emphasis on to convince you. So I'm like, oh, I want to go to the shop. Then that's, like, that action is on the other person, so it gets you completely out of your head. And you can see that. That's what makes it successful, when it's live. And when, like, say if, like, you corpse on stage, or you laugh on stage, and you make that, like, because I do, like, I've been scenes where I'm like, and then you just make it part of your character. That's the bits when you're like, oh, that wasn't meant to be there, but, like, they, you know, it's fresh. And I think every performance should be fresh. If we had this conversation tomorrow, it'd be different. Like, maybe my arms wouldn't be, like, flopping around like this. It would be completely different. So I think that's what, to me, is a successful performance. Just when you're listening to the other people on stage, it's not about you, it's about all of you collectively, and backstage as well. Like, everyone works so hard tirelessly, and it's appreciating everyone. So I think that's what makes it successful. And telling the story.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously tell the story. Don't just be on there, like, and in the moment just, like, dancing on your own. Like, say your lines.
Yeah, because it's tempting in something like Sister Act to make it about the accents and the energy and things, but actually underneath it they are people who are going through something. So it's finding that. I think that's where we're starting to get to now in our rehearsals.
Exactly.
Isn't it? So,
and you can overthink it. You can think, oh, I've got these lines, but at the end of the day, you're telling a story, you're making the audience feel something, you're making the other people on stage feel something, and you're being the character, you're someone else. And, like, that's the main thing. So if you stop trying to, like, internalize all this other stuff and you go, okay, I'm just doing this, and I've got all these people with me, it's a team, that's, like, so exciting. You focus on that.
It is really exciting. It's also exciting that you're going to be doing a workshop with some of the pupils this afternoon.
I can't wait, I'm so excited.
So what sort of things can they expect from that?
So I'm going to be doing some warm-up things. I'm going to be doing an exercise called Linklater Ladder, which is, like, all about accessing different parts of your voice, like different bits of your range, and, like, trying to, like, get out your body. There's all these, like, silly movements that you do. And then doing a bit of improvisation, and then I'm going to do some accent work, trying to get some people to do the Devon accent, which was really difficult for me. And there's sometimes it comes out and I'm like, and then doing some script work of the first scene in Warhorse, the auction scene.
That's so exciting.
I'm excited.
Really
for that, so.
Are you
You'll be with
me? Are you all there?
Yeah.
Things? Yeah, brilliant. So these will all be, they'll know properly, they'll have had all the tips and tricks, so they'll be amazing by now.
Well,
no pressure. No, well, thank you ever so much for joining us today. It's been a real insight into the life of someone who is touring and who is on stage as a career. So we've really enjoyed hearing from you. So thank you very much. And our first podcast victim.
I know, amazing.
Amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you.